Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So why is it that people have such a hard time following directions?
Because they don't listen, and they think they're above the directions.
We went to Home Goods today.
Poor life choice.
And they were so organized. And the lady at the door tells you, every single person, follow the arrows. Do not go a direction that the arrow says not to go.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking to go out. And we're following the arrows. And I see her say this to this couple. Directly to the couple. And what do they proceed to do? They start talking to one another about what it is they're looking for. And you could tell by the way they were talking that they really didn't mean the conversation. They were just saying it so no one would say anything to them because they knew they were going the wrong way. And that's what made me mad. So I spoke up loudly and said, "You're going the wrong way. It's one way the other direction." And the guy, I know. Well, he's so lucky that I was not in the mood for a real confrontation, because I would have went back there and been like, well, okay, if you know, then why are you purposely going in the wrong direction?
Right? Oh, it was spectacular, people.
And
it was spectacular.
People talk about like how you should have respect for others and, you should wear masks so that you don't make other people sick.
Okay.
But we don't have to follow arrows. We can just pretend not to notice and change the subject. But when confronted, admit that we knew, which is even worse. Should have lied and said I didn't hear her, which would have told me that he heard her because I never said anything about her. But yeah, it's just maddening.
People generally are.
And then we, just prior to that, there's a lady just like standing in the aisle. And it's like, lady.
Oh, yeah, that was great too.
Like it's one way here. Let's keep it moving and get the HH out of my way.
Yeah, and they just stand there like there's no one else in the store because they're giant idiots.
Well, exactly. And they stand there like, oh, where am I? Oh, I don't know where I am.
Yeah. It was not spectacular.
No, it wasn't. And so then, I got these people chatting with me on Twitter and Instagram and whatnot, mostly Twitter, and they want to talk about the masks. And they keep telling you how, a mask can't hurt you, blah, 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 blah.
Tell that to my asthma after wearing it in Home Goods today.
Well, then I say to them, have there been studies on this? Like, do we know for sure?
They're just starting to do studies now.
They go, no, there haven't been studies done. So what happens in 6 months if we come back and find out that it causes asthma in healthy people and it creates like viral pneumonia in healthy people? Then what are we going to do? Are we going to apologize to all these people and give them money or what? I mean, what's going to happen?
No.
Exactly. We're just going to be like, oh, well, we screwed up.
Though I do expect to see class action lawsuits against the government about 6 months from now from people with asthma who were forced to spend like quadruple the amount of money on inhalers that are really hard to get because they were forced to wear masks.
Yeah, and no one thinks about this. It's all, you need to wear these masks so that other people don't get sick. But what if the masks are making us sick? So Here's the thing. If I want to believe that masks do not help, and it is my opinion that masks do not help, and I feel as though I should not wear a mask, then I should be able to do those things. But if you feel 180 degrees the opposite of me, you should be able to wear a mask.
And I think the only exception is when you're going into a privately owned business.
Well, and here's what I was going to say. One of my biggest problems, though, is I would never fall all the way on the side of masks are dumb, never wear them. Because I feel like my rights end when I'm going into the Ralphs. And your rights begin when we're going into the Ralphs. I have to start compromising more and thinking more about your side of the issue than I have to think about my side of the issue. And this is where we've had those conversations before about boundaries and how if you have overlapping boundaries, that's what you're really looking for. Well, that's kind of what happens in this situation. You're like, I don't really agree with these masks, but I can concede that point right there.
I don't necessarily think you're conceding to the rights of the other shoppers, though. You're conceding to the right of the business owner to refuse service to you.
Well, yes, but it's still conceding to other people's rights. And, like today I had a lady say, oh, so you're saying that you believe that by wearing a mask you're helping not spread the disease, right? I said, no, that's absolutely not what I think. I don't think that helps at all. What I'm saying is that there are people who are like you, and they believe that by me wearing the mask, the disease isn't going to spread, and for whatever reason that makes them feel really good. Well, who am I to stop you from feeling good? I'll wear the damn mask for you. I mean, who cares? Now, as soon as I find out that there's real health problems, then I'm done with the mask.
Yeah.
Or I'm changing my mask strategy.
Changes a lot at that point.
But I mean, when you think about it, it's not any different from any other kind of thing that we've discussed because we try to be as consistent as possible in our handling of social issues, because by being consistent you can't really get called out and be like, oh, you do this, and no, actually I don't agree with that.
And you don't do that,
right? And you just have to have that consistent stance on things. And I think that like feeling a certain way about masks is your prerogative, but when you get into society where you're commingling with them, you got to come to some kind of compromise. You just have to. It's not right not to come to some kind of compromise. And and they'll say, well, the hardcore ones, well, why can't they comply to my rights? Well, that's not how it works. You're not complying to their rights. They have to give a little bit too.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people really understand the concept you're talking about right now.
No, they don't. And people can't have conversations. I mean, back to that point again. I've had 3 people block me today, and I looked at what I said to them, and I never said a single rude thing to them. Nothing. They didn't infer a rude thing. It was just facts, blocked. I don't get it. Like, I purposely follow people I can't stand. I don't like Chris Cuomo. I don't like Chris Cuomo even 0.2%. And you know what, Chris Cuomo? If you come on this show, I'll tell you to your face that I don't like you. And I'll tell you why I don't like you. Because what did we just say we are? We're consistent. We don't just say things for the show and then say something different in public. We believe what we believe. And if we change our minds, we're not stupid and stick to the old viewpoint. We acknowledge that we changed our minds. Now, that doesn't even necessarily mean we were, quote, wrong before. It just means we see it differently now.
Seems reasonable.
Factors change, right? You get older. Maybe your health gets better. Maybe your health gets worse.
Maybe you learned something new.
Right. All kinds of factors change, and that changes how you think about certain situations. It changes how you act about certain situations. That's why it's so important to be consistent and have an open mind. If you do those 2 things...
And actually listen when people speak.
Yes, you will fly. Well, that's part of the be consistent. You got to listen, speak up when something's wrong.
Considering that's a really key part, I didn't want to leave anything to the imagination.
Sure, I appreciate it, but I'm just saying that it is part of the, being consistent. You got to present a consistent front. If you don't, it misguides people, and then they don't trust you. And when they don't trust you, they're not going to listen to you.
Right.
I think, though, that, like, watching Trump tonight, I mean, I've never watched one of his rallies before.
He's consistently boring.
And I watched him, and he's, like, putting me to sleep, first of all. But he's so petulant. Everything is about him, and what people said about him, and hey, well,
Right.
hold on, let me explain what really happened.
It's like a
and,
5-year-old.
oh, that guy doesn't like me, so therefore he's whatever. It's just ridiculous that a man that age acts that way. It's just so freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a little tiny baby 5-year-old.
I don't get it. Well, yeah, and it's like he's stomping his feet while he's telling you the story.
Of course. He is. Stomping his feet and toddlering.
I mean, I think there comes a time in every discussion where you either decide it's not worth moving forward because the other person isn't paying attention, or for whatever reason you're never going to come to an agreement, so you just stop the conversation.
Right.
Or you're honest, and the same thing can happen. You can determine that you're never going to fix it, or, hey, here's where we're going to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
But you should never just, like, hold on to your original thought process. New information comes along, you have to consider the new information.
Well, even if you just move like 1 degree in another direction.
Yeah, it's progress.
Right. You're getting closer to what you actually believe.
I told you, on social media these days, the very, very rare instance where I get myself in trouble, it's because I didn't pay attention at first.
That's fair.
And it's rare now. I listen so much better.
But
when I listen, keeps me out of trouble.
Well, that's fair.
It's when I don't listen, like the 1 out of every 95 times, that then I kind of go, uh-oh.
Seems reasonable
This is
now.
not the path I want to go down.
And then you immediately change the direction because you didn't actually want to be there in the first
Or I'll
place.
admit, hey, I made a mistake. That isn't what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I mean, man up, own it. People are allowed to make mistakes, So, by the time you guys hear this, we will have probably talked about Father's Day, which is coming up tomorrow. And I don't know why, but it's kind of like wah-wah about it. It's really weird. It is. It's just really
Alrighty then.
weird. I am. I'm just kind of like, wah. And I don't know why. But I will sleep on it, and I will wake up in the morning and have a better grasp. And then I'll put my smiley face on because I'll be fine.
Better change your attitude, man.
Exactly. It's what I just said.
Also, I just realized that this isn't what we told everyone we were going to talk about this episode.
What did we say we were going to talk about?
I don't remember, but we promised. So in the next episode, we'll talk about that thing we promised to talk about in the last episode.
Yeah, sorry. This bothered me today. I was at my wit's end with the lady blocking the aisle and then the dude and his girlfriend walking the wrong way.
Dude,
Through the
you were
store.
so mad that we walked out of Home Goods and you power walked to PetSmart. There was no keeping up with you. You were just like, I'm out of here. Zoom!
I was pissed.
I was like, okie dokie, man.
I was pissed. I even admit that I was being unreasonable.
You didn't even want to walk
around.
around PetSmart. That's how mad you were.
So
And we like PetSmart, and they had no rules about what way you had to walk.
But I was so mad. So mad. It's because I don't like hypocrisy.
Well, yeah, you don't like hypocrisy, and you didn't feel good today, and then that dude tried to kill us with his truck.
That was
And then
after the fact.
He didn't really understand what the hell was going on because he's an idiot.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
You were what, trying to pull out into traffic, and he decided that he
I
had
had
to
already
go first.
pulled out into traffic.
He
I was
decided
right
that he had
behind
to
the
go
other car.
first, and he was trying to push you off the road, and then he roomed up next to you, and then he was hand gesturing and
and moving in real close to me.
really? And then because he was being annoying and because I'm kind of feisty, I gave him the bird.
I did as well.
Solid. So he got multiple birds. And then he just screeched around the corner going the other way. Bro, you need to calm down. Take a Xanax, go have a nap.
Right? Right?
Xanax.
I'm glad you remembered that part, or I would have forgotten that part.
I recommend Xanax.
He was so angry. And he thought because he had a big car, a big truck, we only had our little car, that we were going to be afraid of him. I wasn't afraid of him. Go ahead and hit me.
Yeah. There would have been witnesses to tell everybody how
Lots of
aggressive he was
witnesses.
being, not including the 4 of us in the car.
Yeah.
So whatever,
it was insane. It didn't make any sense. And what was funny though is he truly didn't understand what he did wrong. He felt we did something wrong.
No, on every single level, he thought you were the asshole.
And that kind of fits with what we've been talking about.
Right.
How people, They make these snap judgments about things, and they label you, and you just can't get rid of that label.
Right.
They've decided that's how it is, so therefore that's how it is.
How annoying.
Well, it's more frustrating.
People are the worst.
Well, people of the world are kind of the worst. I mean, they do so many selfish things. But then
that was super evident in Home Goods by the people going the wrong direction, and then the people who would like diagonal park their cart across an aisle. Like, that's okay in normal Home Goods times when you could be like, oh, I'm just going to go down a different aisle because you're clearly shopping in this one. That's
right.
Totally okay. Well, it's still annoying, but it doesn't make you a selfish asshat.
Right.
Like it does now. But now, you only have one choice. Like, that's the aisle you have to go down. And you can't turn around and go back the other way because then you're being selfish and not following the rules of the store. Right. So you have to be like, yo, excuse me. And then they're like all pissed off and finally move their cart out of the way. And you just want to like punch them in their face.
That's what I did with the lady at the end there. I was like, excuse me.
And she got all sassy about it.
She looks at me and she's like,
yeah.
And I'm like, well, sorry, but I need to go that way.
Yeah. There was no reason she had to block 2 entire aisles because her husband was over there looking at some stupid wicker baskets.
Where he didn't belong in the first place because they hadn't gone through the arrows yet.
Right.
My God. Selfish jerks.
I really wanted to look at the pet stuff in Home Goods. However, there was too many idiots. Now I'm disappointed.
Well, and it's really hard to find, like normal times when you can kind of cut through the middle.
Yeah.
You can walk up an aisle and go, oh, it's over there, and then like squeeze over a few.
You can't do that right now.
Can't do that right now.
And it was crowded.
I even made the comment that they were smart enough to make it simple for everybody by blocking off the center aisles. You couldn't just go up the center aisle. And that's what a lot of stores make the mistake of. They put the arrows up. They don't like block and guide the traffic. They literally guided the traffic. How can you screw that up?
I think we saw multiple ways how people were screwing it up today.
It's sick and disgusting. That's what it is. It's sick and disgusting. And speaking of sick, I'm still sick. It's been 3 weeks. It just doesn't go away, but it's not the COVID.
You seem like you were feeling overall like less bad today. Like you were pretty shitty this morning, but then you ate something, so that was clearly hangriness.
That helped a lot.
But like overall, you seem better than you have been.
But like then I needed a nap because I was feeling kind of feverish.
You just got to listen to your body. If it needs a nap, you take a nap.
Took a nap.
Also, a recommendation for all of you people out there in the existence: don't go to IKEA. Don't. Oh
my gosh!
Unless you want to stand in a 40-mile line.
The lines were crazy, man. If that keeps up, they're not going to be able to sustain staying open.
I love IKEA. I was so excited that we were going to IKEA, and then I was so unhappy.
Yeah, me too.
But on the note about you napping, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye. Breestosaurus, Humongouses. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.